Good evening to everyone. We're certainly glad to be here, and we thank you all, the department heads and everyone that is here, and even any of our guests. We certainly appreciate you all being here. As we all know, this is the public hearing for our 2021-2022 budget hearing. So with that said, I am calling the meeting to order. And at this time, Council, I would like to ask for a motion for approval to appoint Mrs. Shannon Davis as the acting city clerk. May I have a motion for that approval?
Motion to approve.
All right, motion by Councilman Day. May I have a second?
Second.
Okay, second by Councilman Gordon. You have that, Shannon? Now, if I call you Melanie, don't get mad at me. Don't throw nothing at me now.
I will not.
All right, so we have the motion and a second. Council, at this time, I'd like to call for the vote.
Councilmember Day?
Yes.
Councilmember Johnson?
Yes.
Councilmember Bailey?
Yes.
Councilmember Gordy?
Yes.
Mayor Law?
Yes.
Thank you.
And before I ask the clerk, the acting clerk, to call a roll call, I do want to put the disclaimer out. I was specifically told, like all of us, to wear our shirts to be in unison because we are a team, but I have totally forgotten it. So please forgive me. They've already told me that I got to run some wind sprints, so you're welcome to come. They haven't given me the time yet, so hopefully they will forget it. But forgive me for not being in unison with the team. So with that said, at this time, I'd like to ask the clerk to do the roll call. Mrs. Davis.
Councilmember Day?
Here.
Councilmember Johnson?
Here.
Councilmember Bailey?
Here.
Councilmember Gordy?
Here.
Mayor Law?
Here.
Thank you.
Okay. With that, at this time, I'd like to turn over to the city manager for the message, the budget message.
All right, thank you, Mayor and Council. As we come to you today to present our 2021-22 budget for the city of Phenix City, I'd like to tell you that we will be presenting a balanced budget, which we always look forward to doing. And you'll see a lot of precautions in this budget as we went through the process already and explain that to you all, what we're doing and what we're considering. As we do this, I really do. We've been in this business for a while, and I truly do sincerely thank the federal government and our state government for what they have done as far as dealing with us with the CARES Act and with the release funds that they have distributed throughout the city, cities and counties. They've taken care of a lot of people and done a lot of things for people, and they continuously, from the federal level, they're continually working hard, as I seen on the news this evening, to do a lot of things for us with the infrastructure. Where that is so important at is that when we are presenting a conservative budget, with those funds, we are able to do things that we don't have to put such a strain on our budget. And it relieves us of certain burdens that we would normally have on us. And it's important for people to understand how these things act, and I'll probably go farther into that later on as we get ready to present this budget. So right now, through our charter, what we truly try to follow, I'm going to bring the finance director up to present the budget message from the finance department and from the city manager. And after the end, we will move forward as far as presenting the hearing, if anybody has any questions. Mr. Brady.
Thank you, Mr. Hunt. All right.
Mayor and Council, I will present the City of Phoenix City's proposed budgets for fiscal year 2021-2022.
Could you bring it a little closer to you? Excuse me.
Is that better? It's not.
Like this on.
It's not. Oh. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
No better. You might have to speak up louder.
Okay.
Just think you're yelling at your kid, so you'll be all right.
Now I can hear it.
Okay. Thank you for working, Mike. All right. So again, Mayor and Council, I'd like to present A synopsis of the City of Phoenix City's proposed budgets for the 2021-2022 fiscal year. Our general fund budget. The projected general fund revenue budget for fiscal year 2021-2022 is $43,401,852, which is a decrease of $2,684,750, which is a 6% decrease from the fiscal year 2020-2021 budget. This decrease is due to conservative projections in our revenue streams in conjunction with planned decreases in our operating expenditures to offset any economic downturns as a result of the continuation of the national pandemic. And basically, that's just where we were really conservative in our revenue projections because we had a really good year during the pandemic because of our main revenue stream, but we're more conservative in our planning for next year because we know that that may change once the pandemic comes to an end. So our budgeted expenditures and transfers for the general fund are $43,193,979. Of that, $743,979 is for operating expenditures. $1,250,000 of that is for transfers for our debt service, and then $1,200,000 is for transfers for future debt service. The city has projected $1,337,967 for departmental capital expenditures, and the city projects to end the 2021-2022 fiscal year with a surplus of $207,873. There are no tax or fee increases proposed or expected for the 2021-2022 fiscal year. Our utility fund budget. The projected utility fund revenue budget for fiscal year 2021-2022 is $14,404,414, an increase of $892,601, which is a 6% increase from the fiscal year 2020-2021 budget. Our budgeted operating expenditures for the utilities division are $13,926,331, with a utility debt service budget of $3,830,584, which includes $1,895,000 in principal debt reduction. The operating budget includes $1,008,919 for departmental capital expenditures. The city projects the utility system to end the 2021-2022 fiscal year with a surplus in its operating budget of $478,083. The city's utility system has $275,000 in budgeted for capital expenditures from the system development fees. We have $11,804,000 budgeted for sewer and water improvements and system expansion, which are funded by the state revolving fund loans. As a result of these planned and required utility improvements and expansions, the city anticipates an increase in utility rates in the 2021-2022 fiscal year. Beginning in fiscal year 2008-2009, the city began a multi-year program to upgrade the utility treatment plants, storage tanks, and old water and sewer lines. The utility system continues to expand its sewer system to the south and west and to upgrade the pumping stations and lines in the northern areas of the city. The city is moving forward with plans to ensure adequate water and sewer will be in place to accommodate new and proposed developments on Highway 431 in South Phoenix City, Highway 80 in West Phoenix City, and River Chase Drive and Somerville Road in North Phoenix City. Our special revenue fund budgets. The city's special revenue fund budgets for the 2021-2022 fiscal year are as follows. The general fund's capital improvement fund budgets of $4,275,000 have planned projects for resurfacing Knowles Road and 43rd Street, improving the Steel Road Bridge replacement, Riverwalk improvements, a park on 14th Avenue, re-roofing the Central Activity Center and the Sea Club, a new landfill, and a new fire training center. Our gas tax fund budgets include paving, $500,000 for road improvements, and $420,000 for resurfacing Dobbs Drive. The corrections fund budget of $42,000 helps defray the cost of operating the municipal court. The second mortgage fund budget of $260,000, along with $50,000 in our general fund's code enforcement department, is for the removal of substandard structures throughout the city. and for compliance with federal ADA regulations. The confiscated property budget of $5,000 assists with operating expenses of our police department. The 3 and 4 meal tax fund budgets of $2,466,471 are for contributions to the Phenix City school system. The 7 meal tax fund budget of $4,232,221 is for the repayment of general obligation debt. That includes $2,580,000 in principal debt reduction. The municipal court bond budget of $101,000 from state mandated fees from court cases assists with operating expenses of our municipal court. The donated money fund budget of $2,350 includes donations from citizens to the city, and they are used for employee recognitions and acknowledgements of employees. The city's public building authority's budget of $7,649,319 includes $6,402,566 in capital spending on improvements to the public safety and the city's administrative buildings, and $865,000 in principal debt reduction. The library fund budget of $40,000 from state and local governmental assistance assists with operations of the Phenix City Russell County Library. Highlights of our employee benefits. For the 2021-2022 fiscal year, the city has budgeted merit increases for eligible employees based on the salary study from Ellis Harper Management in accordance with the city's merit system. The city participates in the state of Alabama employee retirement system, and in January of 2015, the city joined the state of Alabama local government health insurance plan. Employees who participate in the wellness plan program for the city receive a discount on their insurance. The cost of that insurance, the individuals get pay 10% of their premium, and for employees that have family coverage, they pay 50% of the premium. In conclusion, these are the budgetary highlights of the city's proposed budgets for the 2021-2022 fiscal year, and copies of this message and the budget documents can be found in the city clerk's office of the city of Phoenix City. Any questions?
Council, any questions, anything?
Yeah, on the utility fund budget here, you said we had a 6% increase from the fiscal year of 2021. But that increase came from when we went up on the water.
That's part of what we've done, but a lot of that, the increase was because of the way we budgeted and the revenue that came in so far. And that was from the previous rate scale.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay, any other questions from the council?
No other questions? Okay, thank you.
You did good for your first time.
Thank you.
So you know what is expected for you going forward now. Good job, thank you. Okay, if there's any other questions from the council? If not, I am declaring this public hearing open at this time. Anyone that would like to address the council or ask some questions? Now's the time to do so. All right. Oh, okay, come on. Ma'am, step forward.
Good afternoon. Oh, is this, I don't know if this is on,
Just
because I think you.
Tilt it up, that thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Can
that
you
may
hear me?
help.
No, it's not on.
Yes, ma'am.
I can hear you, but I don't think it's on.
I don't think it's
Correct.
on as well. Okay, because it's very hard to hear in the back with the air on.
Yeah, we want to make sure they can hear. Tovar, can you check it out?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Give them just a minute, Mrs. Garrett. Yeah. You may have to try to talk as loud as you possibly can without straining our own voice.
Mayor, may I ask a question while we're preparing?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Just looking back on the
Is this
general
for
fund.
Mrs.,
Probably so. Okay. The general fund budget, I'll be quick. The last statement, the last sentence there say, there are no tax or fee increase proposed or expected for fiscal year 2021-22. Are we talking about, any type of taxes, business taxes, or what specific types of taxes are we speaking of?
We're talking about all taxes for our general fund.
All taxes, okay? And then one other quick question. On page 2, I couldn't hear Councilmember Day, he may have asked this. The city anticipated an increase in utility rates for the 2021 fiscal year. Any projection on the amount or the percentage of a tax, the increase?
No, right now, we're having a rate study done, and once that comes back, then we'll know those amounts.
Okay.
and if you don't mind, some of this, we've always tried to make sure that this stays in the,
Check 1, 2.
not to get to the point where it's double digit. And as we notice the increase in the utility funds, we all know that it's pretty hard to have a decrease in that because of infrastructure and because of maintenance and things. So we all need to realize, the public realize that part of that is maintenance.
Well, you're dealing with old infrastructure and new
Exactly.
infrastructure.
So-
You're dealing with both.
So it's pretty tough to have a decrease, and you're absolutely right, Mr.
Yep.
Bailey. But one of the things that this council, under the guidance of our city manager, as Mrs. Copeland stated, we are having a rate study, and in the past, we've always been able to increase it by single digit, which is huge. And as we all know, things increase, and the utilities department is very important, so it's just the cost of doing business. So throughout America, a lot of cities that I know usually do double digit, but we've been pretty fortunate now. We hope that can maintain, but the first responsibility of this council is to make sure that the safety and health of this community is safe. And we all have seen and experienced through other cities of the results when you don't do that with the health of people.
Yeah, look at Detroit.
Yes, so that's the reason for it.
Well, we already got reasonable rates.
Yes,
And they'll still be reasonable.
exactly.
But the people expect when they turn that faucet on, water to come out, and they want to flush them toilets, and it's supposed to go away. They really do expect that. And then they expect when them pipes bust under the road, we have to fix them. So
Oh, yeah.
it is, it is what it is. The city
It's just
has to take care of the old and the new,
Exactly.
and we're gonna do that. We're gonna do that. She's got a
Okay,
microphone.
I'm
Okay.
sorry.
All right, Mrs. Gary.
Good afternoon to our Phoenix City Council. Good
All right.
afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I am Kai Gary. I'm representing and Executive Director of Knowledge Works Learning Academy. I had the first privilege of sitting in, Councilman Johnson invited me to a hearing on last month. I appreciate it. It's good that, to see how the city is really operating. This will be a great field trip for some of our schools kids to understand civics. I believe this is very important. I just want to take the opportunity to address the council this afternoon. I had the opportunity to go yesterday to look at the budget for fiscal year 2021-22. And I had a few questions. I'm not sure if you were given a copy, is what I was told by the young lady in the office. Did everyone
Just
get a
go
copy
ahead.
of the, okay, no, you didn't, okay? So the first question that I would like to address is, please, I'm looking at the appropriation side of the non-department budget. Please explain and provide the breakdown of Phoenix City Board of Education funding and the Phoenix City Board of Education in-kind funding. What will both fundings be used for or go toward?
Okay. As you heard, as Ms. Copeland said, she mentioned the $2.4 million that goes to our school system, which is by legislation. That's the 3 and 4% tax mill that, as the city grows and generates, that money is already designated, as I stated, by state legislation, that it goes to our school system. However, the in-kind, we do give our school system $205,000, and I do want to caveat this. there was at one point that the city had stopped doing that, and this council and other councils, not too long ago, put that back in place. That is an in-kind, as I've stated several times to people, the school system is only as good as the city, and the city is only as good as the school system. And I think I can say this, council, you know, as you heard, that this budget has been decreased, but I think it's all about our gumption that at some point we can do more than 205,000. But the in-kind is what we give, but the other, the 2.4 million, if you round it up, 2.5 million, along with this, so our school system does receive like $2.7 million that we are very grateful to be able to do that. And each year, that 7 meals at 3 and 4 meal tax has increased, which is a result of how well the city has done and how well the city has grown.
And the in-kind is used for?
Anything that the superintendent wants to do. We give it, we trust the school system, we do not tell them what to do with it. That's strictly up to them, but it shows how well we're connected with our school system.
Thank you. The next question I had, for organizations who did not qualify for PPP, how will appropriation funds be dispersed? Question number two. What criteria is used to determine the amount awarded to nonprofit organization? Was the criteria communicated to local nonprofits who applied or presented proposals for appropriation funding?
Okay, with the PPP, we have nothing to do with that. There's an organization that has applied for it, and I will say this, and maybe I shouldn't. There have been fake organizations who have applied and has been granted, but we have nothing to do with the PPP at all. There's nothing with us having to do with that. And the second part of your question is how do we determine? We, as a committee, as a council, get together when the information is turned in, which has to be turned in before May 1st of each year. We go through that, we look at it now, but I do want to caveat it this way. Those are not guarantees that those organizations would get any funding. And the reason for that, the city is a business, and I've stated several times, and council, you all help me with this. We're one of the fewest cities, maybe the only city that I know of, that does appropriations. If things get tough, as we've seen, we're taking a very conservative point of decreasing our budget. And I've said this, and I'll continue to say this. We have to take care of the citizens of this community. Financially is one of his main job and this council's main job. If it gets to that point, that I will say that's one of the first things that we will look at reducing, maybe not even doing. Am I safe to say that, council?
Correct.
Okay, so there's no guarantee, but there are some things we look at going into the third question. Is one of the red flags, if we see nonprofit agencies that are spending a certain percent of the money that they're receiving on employees, well, that's a red flag, because it should be a smaller percentage of a lot of times where we've seen it. So that's the main criteria that we use, and also getting it in before May 1st of each year. But we have, 2 years ago, I think, we cut it across 10%, I think. Am I right?
Yes, that's right.
So it is not anything that's guaranteed. It's just the kindness of this council and this city, but that's not anything guaranteed. And typically, the organization, when they ask for a certain amount, you know, we're very conscious of not giving them that amount, because again, the city is a business and we have to take care of our own first. Did that answer all your questions?
I believe it was, was the criteria communicated to local nonprofits who applied or presented proposals for appropriation funding?
We don't just necessarily advertise it, but I will say most of the organization, because of what the standard or the criteria or the things that the city has
They
said.
answer that.
is,
She's ahead of time. That
Has been-
information don't go out until the budget is approved. So, and a lot of the time, that's in August and September, that the clerk's office will put that information out to you all to let you know that. So, a lot of the people find that out
Most
at a
of them-
different time. That's why you're probably the only person here, because you got information from here. Because that information don't go out until after the budget is approved.
and most of the organization already knows about it because of what he just stated.
Yes, and I was, okay, so I was looking at this year that Knowledge Works Learning Academy will not receive funding for
Yes,
the
ma'am.
appropriation
Yeah,
funding.
yes,
And I
ma'am.
saw that other nonprofits were, and that's why I asked if was there a criteria.
But it's different industries in those nonprofits. School was not in last year, and also, one of the things that this council, and you all help me out here, that we, based on your nonprofit, we're going to start talking to the superintendent of the school system to make sure that those industries, as yourself, are making a fulfillment to the kids of our community.
With us, as far as being community learning centers according to the federal guideline, I mean, what do you mean by that?
The kids come from our school system.
Oh, yes, and we
so-
service them.
Yes, so that's my point, what I was
Okay,
saying, that we
gotcha.
want to make sure. But as far as that type of industry, and based on the environment last year, this council made a conscious decision that we did not fund any in those type of industries.
So we were open during COVID, and we were able to service about 12 Phoenix City School District remote kids.
Remotely,
Yes, no, they brought their computers to our center.
okay, well,
We were open.
so the kids was on site?
Yes, sir.
Well,
We hold us compliance.
Go ahead.
We discussed this at length when we went over these, and one of the things that we've talked about, to answer another one of your questions, is because we ran into this, and nobody really was planning for COVID or what was happening with COVID, it was difficult for us because we weren't sure what organizations had been doing things last summer, had not been doing things last summer. It made it difficult for us to decide what we wanted to do and what we did not want to do. But we also discussed that moving forward, one of the things that we do want to do is set a better criteria for the organization so that you guys understand better the decisions we make.
And what we're looking for.
Right. And so moving forward, hopefully next year, we will have that set up where you guys as organizations will be able to provide us better information that goes more specific to how we make the decisions that we make. And then that way, I think that you'll understand better where our mindset is when we make these decisions.
So now that you know that we were open, and it was in our proposal that we did service children during the pandemic, and we still are. Today was our last day for free tutoring for all children in our area, whether they come from Smith Station, Russell County, or Phoenix City. We are here to help the Phoenix City School District and the City of Phoenix City, number one, to deal with truancy, number two, to close the academic gap. We had children that were breaking down at our center because the workload was very, very demanding. We offered it free of charge. If you look at our budget, it was because we hired former Central High School students who were college students that were home. They came in and they were academic tutors for us. I do not receive a income at all. I do not. Everything I do is volunteer even after I get off work. And I am dedicated to the Phoenix City School District students, especially students with disabilities, me being a special education teacher. I just want the council to know that it would be good to get a phone call, just as United Way do. They get up out of their seats and they come and visit. I thank you, Mayor Lowe, that you came by, to visit as well. I do appreciate
Well, now,
it.
you were at the other location.
Yes, at LP, we
LP,
appreciate it, and we serve.
Which you invited me.
Yes, I did. Yes,
All
I
right,
did.
but that was kind of misleading. But
Well,
anyway.
excuse me for misleading.
Let me say this, Mrs. Gary. We take it very seriously.
Yes, sir.
There are criteria, as Councilman Gordon has stated, going forward, it'll be better. But we look at the information that is put in, and there are things that we look at that we can tell, kind of question, that puts us in a bad situation, whether to fund or not. And I was just curious as far as the restrictions and things that we had last year in you housing kids, that You had to have a certain number of kids in
That
a
is
certain
correct.
space.
We went, according to the Alabama Department of Human Resources, which we are an approved center for out of school time, our capacity was 28. We only served, the max was 15. We had social distancing, we had the guards up, students were to wear masks, we took temperatures, parents could briefly sign in and sign them out. It was very, very.
How often do you talk with the superintendent? Have you talked with the superintendent of school? Because now I'm asking that for a reason. We are going to get going forward to make sure that our kids are being serviced by these agencies that are in that type of industry.
I appreciate that, thank you. I have reached out to the assistant superintendent, but I'm yet to hear back from him. But yes, sir, I would like to collaborate with them, let them know that we are a community learning center, assisting teachers in, and assisting all school districts, that we are here, we're here.
So of the 15 kids, how many was from Phenix?
We had seven. We had from we had them from the PCIS, the middle school, which was South Girard. Yes, sir.
And you know, kids are kids, but you know, as far as us looking at the budget, you know, things like that needs to be brought up as far as actually what we're doing, because you know, you're infidel if you don't take care of home.
Yes, sir. Oh, yes. Oh, I agree.
Yes,
I have
sir.
a question.
Yes.
Okay, so we'll be direct, you have a clear understanding of what we service here, the advice that we got from the Fed and the states. And what we talked about during our work session was going through the superintendent and anything that's dealing with education, because the information that we get as a city advises us when the rescue funds came in as far as the city, it advised the city to take a look at investments in water, sewer, and broadband infrastructure for the city. It also let us know that in making a decision that we're to look at places that they are funding throughout, as far as other municipalities, is horticulture, education, small business, restaurants, event venues, health, human services, transportation, infrastructure, unemployment, housing, technology, broadband, cyber, homeland security, energy and environment, as well as other entities. So when we look at education or anything that's involved in education, we're to look at following what the school system is doing. They're the experts on that. That shouldn't be in this county, in the city or county's lap. It should be as far as dealing with the people that deal with education. Also, it tells us what we could do if it comes into play as far as helping other nonprofits out. But as far as looking at what we have to do for employees, but that was the advice that I received. So that's why looking at advising this council doing what we're doing budgets, we had to look at what increases goes to and what funding goes to the school system. And the school system, it probably you need to approach them also, because they have different, after-school programs and guidelines, and they would be the experts on handling this, and if they needed any other additional funding for us, because we wasn't directly involved as far as the PPP money. Ours come in the form of the American Rescue Plan. That's where it came into the city, and not to cross all these different things up, we try to stay in our lane as far as taking care of this. So we do, like I say, deal with the section of the regular appropriations. That's what they deal with, and we give out, probably we advise to start doing a lot of that as far as having different agencies that's their expertise and what they handle. So we wouldn't, and as you asked earlier, we have certain requirements by law what we have to do as far as the school system and the other funding that was in there as far as providing police officers for security and what we have to do in there to take care of that. We've been doing that for years for the school system, having officers in there to make sure there's no crime and getting to know the kids and the kids looking up for them, being involved. We do quite a bit of that. We do a lot of that because that's our public school system. And that's who will tell us what needs that they have as far as the city or what help they would need. Because we can't search as deep into the different agencies as
no,
they
we
can.
don't do that.
That's what they do. And that's why I'll stay, give them a reason why I make sure I stay away from that. But as far as other revenues and the money that's coming in, we have such rules and regulations that we have to follow as far as when that comes in. And it helps, like you probably heard me talk earlier about our budget and what we have to do with that, because I think they tried to, Sean from our economic development did a lot of research and trying to help with this, and we've seen some things they was doing over in Georgia, but we also seen some things they had to reverse in Georgia because of revenue not coming in the way they thought it was going to come in as far as nonprofits that they was trying to help. And then we seen where our chamber was trying to help some people, started out with a lot of things, with helping people with PPP money, and you said something earlier, and that's why I was wondering, when you say not qualified for that as nonprofit or with that, the things that's presented to us, nobody would present anything like that to us because we don't look through that paperwork. But as far as a great amount of people around here was able to receive PPP money. And when you're saying not qualified for it, what was the reasons that were stated that you all didn't qualify for it?
So we do not have payroll. It's the main thing, and you have to come to a certain threshold. And so since the students, the academic tutors and students that work for Knowledge Works Learning Academy, they're 1099 employees, and they're really basically, they were just students making minimum money. And so we did not, according to our accounting, did not reach that. We didn't qualify for United Way. There are many local things we're not qualifying for because it's very, the measurable objectives. You have to have even a certain amount of kids, 40 plus kids, where our center only hosts 28. And so it was a lot of restrictions for small nonprofits like ours. However, we just asked for donations from many communities, people in the community, people out of the kindness of their heart gave, board members. It was very restricted, but we did. We were able, thank God, to receive funding from the governor's office. We did apply for the PPP for there, and that helped what we could use for salary. So with her stipulations from the governor, we were able to maintain, and that's why we were open during the pandemic.
So y'all did
Yes.
qualify.
Oh, yes, yeah, we did. Well, that was just a simple, really, it wasn't it was like
It was
an
a
application.
I
Yes,
think it was a
yes,
state,
it is.
it wasn't the federal PPP loan, it was a state.
Yes, just
State,
state.
it was a-
Correct.
The governor put out. Yes,
And we-
and
yes.
we do have a person who serves on the board here, our chief of police, deal with United Way. And I think when you start running into these avenues, you have to make requests to say, okay, what if we have a good firm business going here and see, will they help you with the change in numbers or having sponsors? There's other ways that people will sit down without us getting into something that, because I'm going to tell you,
Which we don't
when you
need.
get into these things, you're talking about personal files, and it's a nightmare kind of for our finance department. We went through this some years ago, and it didn't turn out real good, to be honest with you. So there's other ways of talking to people and trying to see if it don't come from the appropriation side of things. There's other agencies that you can look into, and the chief can look into that for you at the same time and talking to the school system, because the school system receives a lot of money.
Yes.
A lot. A lot of school systems, it's a tremendous amount. So those will be the people that probably we need to talk to, because it's something different than the way we work things at the city.
And let me say this, things change. It's been a while since I was on the school board. But the state sends all of the school system in the state monies for at-risk kids,
Yes.
particularly in low to moderate income areas.
That's correct.
And we're in a low to moderate income area. And those school systems had to give, at that time, I think, 20% to agencies, industry like you. But it has to be validated through the superintendent. So that's even more of a reason why you need to sit down and talk with them.
Yes, sir.
Now, that may have changed. It's been a long time, but I would doubt that it has changed. I'm not sure of the amount, but I
No,
do know.
it has not changed.
I do know that 20% of what the school system received for that, they had to give out to industries such as yours.
Correct. Yes, according to their governor's emergency education relief fund that they received, yes, an outside contractor that provided before and after school tutoring was awarded $75,000. Yes, so you're correct.
Okay.
You are correct.
But you still need to get with him, because he does have the kids that are.
Yes, sir. But I appreciate also under United Way, they do ask if the city supports, and so that will look, it looks good on the application to know that the city of Phoenix City is supporting Knowledge Works Learning Academy. Before I sit down in my last question, I do want to thank you all for the year 2019 and 2020, when we were awarded $1,000 and last year $500. Please forgive my rudeness. I forgot to say thank you before I started talking, but yes. And my last question is, now that I'm asked to speak to the council on behalf of Knowledge Works Learning Academy to increase appropriation amount for the fiscal year budget 2021-2022 to at least 20% of the $25,000 we requested. That is what I am asking and proposing the city council. And with that, we're doing free, we would like to go to free tutoring 5 days a week. We would. Right now, we only did 2 all the way from March of last year to today. And we would like to extend it because a lot of parents are asking for it. And so I told them that I would come before the council and speak on behalf of the parents.
Well, we appreciate that. But
Yes, sir.
again, I want to make sure that we're clear. We can't promise you that.
I understand.
All right? Again, because most cities doesn't even do what we do. And that's a target that we have to keep our eyes on to make sure that we are taking care of all citizens of this community.
Yes, sir, I appreciate it, but I would just like the crumbs from the master's table is all I'm really asking for. I really am, but thank you so much.
Then you get something last year?
No, I mean for 2021, 2022, yes.
Okay.
And those who don't ask, don't receive. And a closed mouth gets nothing. So I'm here and you all will be seeing more of me.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Let me ask you something. As I sit here and I listen very diligently with statement and the have been made, you were down at LP Styles apartment down in that area?
Yes, sir. We were there in 2018. We had a MOU relationship with the Phoenix City Housing Authority. We provided a full summer program. The capacity of that building was 40, and so we had 40 children there. In the midst of the Feeding the Valley was there, we fed over 1,500 children for that summer. The parents loved it, and so we extended it until the after-school program. That's when we invited Mayor Lowe and City Manager Isaac Hughley, who grew up at LP, and he was there giving out certificates of the reading certificates that the children did summer reading during that time. Yes, sir.
Well, really nice. When you say LP Styles apartment down in that area, on District 3, and I looked at that area and as I listened, that's a very big program that you have going on. But my question come in this manner. Are you looking for a larger building so you can improve your business there? You get more money from the state and federal government?
Yes, sir, we are.
Because I noticed you said you're on the limit to 15. You have 20, but you only can have 15.
Yes, sir.
So you are working on that as well?
We are, and I would just like to go ahead and put that public service announcement out. If anyone has a building that they'll like to leave in their will and their estate, we are taking free donations. We are 501c3. We need a place. Parents ask all the time. Because we're having a lot of calls from 3- and 4-year-olds, parents needing, because what sets us apart is the character education. We're holistic. We bring in the Word of God. We pray with our children. When they want to talk and they have issues, when they wanted to de-stress from this remote learning and the pressure was heavy, sometimes we just had to move the books away, sit and talk and just play some good old Uno. We want you to come. Why don't you please visit us? Please visit us. We like all of you. I'm inviting. It's an open invitation. Please come by.
Okay. Thank you for the invite. I will.
Yes.
Thank you, Ms. Gary. Let me just make a comment because I did hear my name mentioned. So I learned of Mrs. Gary on 6/23. She contacted the city's clerk office and asked for the representative of District 2. You now have the business in District 2. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Is your business on the verge of crumbling?
We are walking on water. We are, yes. But we
I
are.
hate to hear that.
Yes.
I hate to hear that. Let me also thank you for the commitment to our children. and to the community and to positively Phoenix City. So on 7/5, after the invite to your establishment, I was able to come by and visit. So thank you for extending the invitation as well. So the information that you received, I asked you to contact the city clerk manager's office for any additional information that you would like. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And so that's where you got the information from?
Yes, from the budget that is that what you're speaking of?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am, and thank you for advising me on how to go over, and of course, city manager did as well.
Okay.
This is a learning process for me, I'm teachable, so I appreciate, thank you so much, and I'll be looking at, and I'll tune in via Zoom also if it's there.
Okay, fine. You know, I've been a student all my life and will continue to be one.
Thank you.
So, but I do, will concur and suggest, as the mayor has said, the school system, the funding that they receive, I think it would be very beneficial if you're on the verge of crumbling to talk with, get in touch with the superintendent, the assistant superintendent, to find out if you can receive any funding. Because again, the work that you've done, the legwork, how long have you been in business?
Since 2018.
2018?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so that's been a few years, and we would definitely want to see you continue to thrive and help our children.
I apologize, I'm sorry, we were established in 2016, we started a relationship with Phoenix City Housing Authority 2018.
Okay. But yes, so if you would just, you know, keep us posted, again, speak with the superintendent and their team, the board, or whomever, about any type of disbursement that will help you and our children continue this program. It seemed like it's very beneficial, and I know it is. But I don't want to see a business go under, especially in these times.
We're going to make sure it doesn't, even if I have to use my entire salary. I'm here. I'm all in. I'm all in.
Awesome.
Thank you so much. Any other questions for me before I'm seated?
Thank you.
Thank you
I
all.
am very impressed with your enthusiasm about that business. Very impressed.
Again, I'm sorry,
I
sir.
say I'm very impressed with your enthusiasm about the business.
Please come out, visit the children.
I will.
They would
I
love
will.
to see all of you all.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Proceeding on, council, any other discussion on this budget? Okay, so now I am declaring this public hearing closed since there's no other discussions. So I am declaring the public hearing closed. With that, council, anyone, anything?
I would like to say something. You know, during the pandemic, it's been really truly hard for a lot of people, but we continued on. And I like to say, during the time, you all know last year in 2020, going into 2021, when we did some refinancing as far as looking at our city, all that needs to be talked about also. You know, we refinanced, had to refund on the 2011 A. We went to the PBA series. We saved $1.2 million on that one. And refund the 211A also on the Geo series, we saved $2.3 million. We saved $3.7 million refunded, you know, looking at present value savings on there of $3.7 million for savings at that particular time, $7.3 million. You know, so that was pretty good as far as retiring debt. Look at the amount of debt that we retired. Also in the utilities department on the refunded, we refunded $490,000 as far as 2009 when we refinanced that. And we're looking at the long range planning financially, and we had another savings of right at $3 million as far as in the utility department in that debt service. So we was able to retire $3.4 million in those brackets. So last year, not only we had a tremendous amount, and that's not talking about the regular savings or retirement of debt as far as the general fund and the regular utility fund, but that included, we saved a lot of money, about $10 million and refunding $10.8 million. So we continue to move forward and try to help and try to, as far as the other part, and taking the challenge of changing the budget like we really have and being conservative. Like I say, I appreciate all the help from the feds and from the federal government, from the state government, and people need to learn to really appreciate that because there was a lot of help and from our grant team that continuously, that offsets a lot of things. You know, during the year I come to you all a lot with changes of things that we have to do, and that's why even in the charter, it states looking at the contingency of what we can do, so that's why we also run parallel with this budget, a contingency budget that we have on hand at the time when the department heads are doing their budget, and that has helped us turn around a lot of things over the years. But I'm hoping in the future that we really can, you know, do our best through other agencies to help people and keep us in the lane that we're supposed to be in. You know, to help different agencies, and a lot of times you go to different people to help sponsor things outside when you can't do it yourself. So it's not a matter of just being the city, it's the whole city, and work with all the agencies, deal with the Chamber of Commerce, and dealing with some of the, you know, like I say, with the agencies that are United Way, and they do a lot and a tremendous amount for people, but I do have a big concern of what we are going into as far as the rest of this year. And that's looking at the world news and looking at what's going on now with this pandemic. It is, it is, and I can tell you this, it's back in this city pretty heavy too. There's people infected, and the numbers are rising. And you look at, it's so bad to where life expectancy has been affected. Have y'all seen that?
Yeah.
I mean, it's really something to look at. It's something that we're going to have to be cautious with, and we're dealing with this the 22nd day of July. School will be starting in a couple of weeks. You know, you got recommendation coming from different agencies on what to do and how to do it, and it's attacking the kids throughout the United States. So we really still, we're in a bad situation right now. We're going to have to recognize that, to be real cautious with things that's going on. You know, and people, you know, people feel different ways about the shot. Some people want to take it, some people not. This new strain is attacking a lot of people that had to take the shot, even people who had the shots. But it's good if you've had the shot. That's for me, but a lot of people feel a different way. So
according to the news, the people that had the vaccination are not near as sick as the people that have not been vaccinated, according to the news.
That's a key. That's
a key. You may not be completely 100%,
but
vaccinated against to where you will not get it. But so far, I think it's like 96 or 98% of the new cases are unvaccinated people.
And you got to remember this: we're already at a shortage with workforce.
Right.
We're already there. So with the infection starting to rise again, even in our workforce, that's going to change a lot of things again. It's not just, I can say this, it's not getting better.
It may not ever go away. You may just learn to live with it every year like you did, when they had the flu vaccines all these years. It may be something that stays part of our lives from now on. I don't know, but we got to get a handle on it to where it doesn't control everything on a day-to-day basis. And that's why everybody needs to get on board and do what they can to make this where you can handle it. Make it go away if you could. It really do.
It's tough, but like I tell people a lot of time, I have people calling me up and criticizing the face masks and what we're going to do, but the city is open 24/7. I tell people that all the time. We never close. We're always open for service in some type of way, emergencies, all day and all night long. So that's continuous. So we have to look at things a different way in trying to provide a workforce for the citizens.
But you got to protect the workforce.
We have to make decisions that people don't always agree with, and but that's the only way to do it. You know, we just have to take the criticism on a lot of things. You know, because yes, right, we're responsible for it with accountability. So I just say I thank everybody. I thank the department heads for working so hard on this budget and trying to make sure, thanks for their understanding. They're trying to get things put in place and keeping the city going. And hopefully things will be better, but, you know, I hope everybody is still up for the challenge. it's a lot to really talk about. You know, when we start even talking about the education system, the shortages of teachers. Also, we're looking at shortages of people in the medical field, nurses, doctors that retired. A lot of people are retiring and going, so we have a lot of shortages in the professional fields. You know, and it's not a matter now, it's real scary because it's not a matter of how much you're paying people or what you're going to raise this up to. People
They have to work for it.
are afraid, and it's a lot to deal with because they're afraid now that they're not going to have enough nurses in the hospital now for the surge that's coming in. So it's a lot of things I'm saying, talk about in this city and trying to protect ourselves and having a big concern, you know, because all of us, you know, we think differently a lot, but it's hurting us. And I just pray that everybody can keep themselves together and stay strong and keep doing what we're doing for the city and these citizens. I appreciate that.
Thank you. Anything else? Thank you all, department heads. If not, at this time, we stand adjourned. Y'all have a good night. Thank you.
Then we'll run up and run in Wind's Twins.
Yeah, y'all.